rose, he put on, what's 20 pounds? Cut like 9 kilos. He put on the equivalent of 9 kilos and grew 4 inches. So that was great as a parent. My son's growing, but as a producer, it's like, hey, man, your wardrobe don't fit no more.
Jaden was very proud of his working out.
I'd
be in a restaurant and there'd be a text from him with his six-pack like that.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Everybody's looking at me, why are you getting these teenagers? No, I'm working. Very, very. You did that many times, and I'm like, I don't know why. I'm not asking him to send me these pictures. He's sending them to me. He's like, takes a picture in the mirror and sends it to me, and I'm like, I don't know why he's sending me pictures. I promise.
Yes, sir. You are under arrest.
No, I always send him those pictures just so he saw that I was still dedicated, because we took breaks. Sometimes we wouldn't shoot, and then we do reshoots, and we wouldn't shoot, we do reshoots. So in those breaks, I would show him that I was still dedicated by taking shirtless pictures. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? I'm still working on it.
And I'm like, delete.
Just like in the video.
Every time I dyed my hair a different color, I'd send him a picture of that too. We gotta shoot! What are you doing?
All right, another question from you guys, and we'll get you a microphone. Let's take one just here in the maroon hoodie there.
Hi, my question is for Mr. Cheyenne. Firstly, I love your work.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. How did this film compare to your other films? It feels a bit different, like a bit more like epic, like a blockbuster, a lot of CGI. It feels quite different to your previous films. So how did that compare?
You know, I think there's an aspect that's new for sure. I'm not a techie guy at all. You know, like if you see like the great filmmakers that are so versatile with this, it's Spielberg and Jackson and Cameron. They love this stuff. I mean, they geek out on all the technology and all. I barely know how to send an email. Literally, it's daunting to me. I'm very, like, I read real books and I quiet, I'm that guy. So this is the first time I actually really felt comfortable with the CGI. I spent, a lot of time handpicking the artists, handpicking the supervisors, handpicking the houses that were doing all the CGI, got to know them, talked to them like actors, the way I would talk to these two, because you're creating characters. You know, this character has intelligence, this character is suspicious, each of the baboons has its own intention and its own thing. You know, I can talk like that and spend the time. So this is new and rewarding for me for the first time. It takes a lot of work to do it that way for 2 years, 2.5 years. And then on the action side of it, which is also new for me in terms of, like if you see Unbreakable, the action sequence at the end is one shot with the guy choking him out at the end, and the camera. So I still do it in a kind of quiet, dramatic way. And this movie, because Will was kept on challenging me to kind of, do a 5-part sequence instead of my usual 2-part sequence, I'd have to come up with ways that it would extend, and so it keeps you breathless. And our goal was that you would have a physical reaction at the end of the 2 hours. That when the credits come on, you realize your body's been doing this the whole time, and you're like, oh my god. And so that's been two new things. But they're at the core. It's a quiet father and son. They could do that on stage. The most of the movie they could do on stage. So that's still there, the quiet part.
That's a great
Can't
question.
wait to see it.
It's a great question. I guess, to flip it around, I mean, what was it like for you guys working with Knight on this movie? What did you see in Knight when you first made that phone call and went, actually, this is the guy for this movie?
To me, that was the element that I thought was most interesting about the collaboration. Knight is able to take a shot and what looks and feels like nothing is happening. But he knows how to just let it hang long enough that the audience goes, oh, come on. Oh, wait, no. Why is he holding the shot that long? And he's able to create such tension with what's seemingly nothing. And for me, I'm summer movies, loud explosions, action sequences. But to work and be able to focus in what is an epic summer blockbuster movie, but to pay that much attention to the delicate nuances of just a simple father and son story at the beginning of it, to me, I think we created something really special in that blend.
Thanks very much. All right, we've got time for a couple more questions. Where's our microphone, people? Okay, we've got a question down here. All right, Tara? Thank you very much. Nice, careful there.
Oh, I love that little bob down. I wish you could trip up with it.
But before I spoke, I just wanted to say, Will, as a father, my son's been next to me. It's nice to see because I saw that exchange over there with the training. I'm going through that myself, so it's nice to see that I'm not the only person going through that. But the question I wanted to ask was for both of you. You're working with film together. I see you both have a film together. And I sort of busted on my son the other day. He's studying acting in college, and he told me to get out because he's trying to get an emotional thing going. And I wanted to know, how do you access that emotion in the scene that I was seeing up there, and I've seen in the other films? How do you both access that? Especially if you're working together. How do you differentiate between the sort of family emotion and this film emotion? How do you access? That's a very good question.
Oh, it was. Well, first and foremost, the access to that, you have to clear your own personal blocks, right? You have to be able to be vulnerable in front of anybody. You know, you have to be comfortable looking silly. You have to be comfortable making mistakes. And you have to break the thing inside of you that doesn't want people to see, right? Because as soon as you allow people to see, all of a sudden you get access to things that you didn't realize you had access to, right? For example, like a thing I used to do is when I was probably 18 or 19 years old, I got in touch with those blocks. The camera hates emotional blocks. Like you put a camera in somebody's face and they're uncomfortable about delivering the emotion. It looks fake and you feel it. You immediately know it's not real, right? Especially look at the size of this screen. And in a shot, that whole screen could be just your eyes, right? So it's like you can't hide discomfort, uncertainty, so you have to be able to get comfortable, you know, just being anything! Anything that you have to be for the role, you have to be comfortable being it!
I was so scared.
But that is the part of it. And then by the same token, you have to, be able to just be quiet, to be nervous, to really love someone.
Here we go.
So really at the end of the day, it's about finding ways, like you have to get comfortable doing it in front of your father. That block is the thing. The block that you have for your father is the block you're going to have for the camera, is the block you're going to have when there's a pretty girl behind the camera that's working and you want to look cool for her. You don't want her to see you cry. So that block, you can use your father. If he makes you uncomfortable, it's perfect. Because that's the discomfort you have to break in order to be able to bear yourself in front of the camera.
I have to say something smart real quick.
As opposed to what I was saying?
Yeah. You said too much smart stuff, and I got to say smart stuff too. So, I have a story about you, actually.
Okay.
So, what you were saying, I feel like being afraid of girls, being in front of the camera, being scared in general, all of those things are just really the same thing. It's just really being afraid of what people will think. So I think why you can be such an amazing actor is because when you were a teenager in Philly, he would go to the mall and he would stand up on the chair like this and he would say, "Hey, can I have your attention, everybody? Everybody. My name is Will Smith and I'm going to be famous one day. You guys don't know me yet." Yeah. And then he would sit back down.
Yeah.
And he'd sit back in his chair, but he was just comfortable saying and doing anything. So when you got in front of the camera, you were okay to let that emotion go.
Yeah. That was like practice for me to break that fear.
That's always practice. So
girls are great too. To just, at a party, get comfortable walking up, saying hi, and getting rejected hard in front of your friends.
Gotta be alright with getting rejected.
But you gotta break good, because acting, every take is rejection. That's what it is. You do a take and people don't clap, it's rejection. And you can't allow that to close you down, because bearing yourself is what makes you look strong on camera.
You know, I'm going to jump in there for a second, because these guys, what happens is each of you kind of have your own